Guys, how are we doing? Hope you're good. So I thought I'd just get on here live as it is school run time. So I'm just doing admin, just looking through a hive of activity in the Brotherhood, and it's fantastic to see everyone smashing. They're running in, getting ever closer to that 100k target that everyone's aiming for, getting as close to it as possible. There's lots of good pictures of everybody at the gym. There's lots of good pictures of everybody running, good live feeds. There's lots of energy in the group, which is exactly what we want to see. For those guys that are not in a great place, take encouragement from it. Take inspiration from it. Look at those people and be like, fuck, they are on it. They're in it. Message them. Engage with them. Like, embrace what they're trying to do. Don't run away from it. A lot of people end up running away. Hey, Paul. And people end up going the opposite way when they see other people on it, which is absolutely fucking mental, guys. You cannot go the opposite way simply because somebody else and the other people in a group are on it. You must aspire to level up your efforts, to go from that basic level of living, that where you're a 4 or 5 out of 10 to a 7 to 8 out of 10. Now, I want to talk about something that I'm reading an awful lot, not just in the Brotherhood, but in some other groups and other places that I look into. And old habits die hard. Now, habits are things that we end up doing without even realizing. They're actions, they are patterns that happen, and we don't even think about it. They're second nature. So a habit that we do is when we go to the toilet, we wash our hands. Okay, it's a beneficial habit, right? When we eat all of our food, we tend to get in the habit, well, like we're in the habit of washing up straight afterwards, washing as you go. Not everybody is. Okay, you get into the habit of waking up and making a cup of tea. You get into the habit of going into work and checking your emails. Whatever those habits are. Now, there are obviously destructive habits, like coming home and reaching for a bottle of beer as soon as you get in, like allowing other people's opinion of you to affect you, like getting to the weekend and falling into poor habits and temptations. There are all the sorts of these habits that end up distracting us, frustrating us, aggravating us, and really preventing us from being at a higher level of ourselves and thinking and state of mind and physical ability. Now, remember, you're on a 12-week challenge, and we are all working towards looking different, feeling different at the end of March. Now, if there are a lot of bad habits that you are falling into, make yourself fully aware of these patterns, of these habits that you are falling back into. And what I mean by that is, by having a journal, by having a piece of paper, start jotting down the habits and patterns that you are noticing. And these habits and patterns that you are noticing that are bringing you down, that are frustrating you, that are stopping you moving forwards. So if you notice a pattern that you come home and within the first hour you've had 2 bottles of beer or a glass of wine. If you notice that when you get home, you're constantly on your phone for the first hour when you get back and it's distracting you from seeing the family. Okay, if you know that you're in a habit of constantly putting off your workouts or your morning routine, write it down and why it's happening. You have to be on the next level of self-awareness to realize the problems that you are having. Like, you might not be able to put your finger on it because it's swirling around in your head, but it's swirling around in your head with other things that are going on. There's a whole fucking world that's going on in your head. You're having thousands and thousands of thoughts a day. You need to channel all of these things that are going on and get them on paper and deal with them and look at them and be aware of them, so that when they pop up and they're trying to distract you, when your chimp inside of you is saying to you, go and grab that beer, you've had a hard day, go and grab that beer, and once you've had that beer, you go and grab another one, because that's what your chimp wants you to do. And you can't quite control that because your logical thinking, okay, is overpowered by that emotion of, you need that sense of relief and calming, and beer is your coping mechanism. So if you look at that scenario there, we then have to look at replacing the beer with another coping mechanism, something that is more beneficial to us, something that is not going to frustrate us or deter us from our mission. And for us, our mission is achieving a better transformation, the better way that we look mentally and physically by the end of March. Okay, so when you look at that habit, how can we get out of that habit? Well, you can not buy beer. Okay, if there's no beer in the fridge when you come home, then you can't fucking drink it. Can you limit yourself to maybe a beer at the end of the week, maybe on a Friday night? If you keep off the beer the whole week, there's no play without reward. There's no hard work without a reward. So have a beer on a Friday night. Limit it. And instead of just suddenly trying to stop, think about the nights that you are drinking. And if it seems to be every night that you're having 2 or 3 bottles of beer, then cut that down to just Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Then cut that down to just Wednesday. Then just cut that down to just Friday and use that as your reward. But what you have to do when it comes to habits is look at why you're doing them, what's triggering them, how you can control that habit, how you can replace that habit with a better habit. Okay, these are things to think about. And if you continue to allow all these old habits to not die or to overcome them, and you keep consuming them and they keep consuming you, you're going to continuously get frustrated. You know, the classic one is that beer, but there are other things. You know, there's other things like being on your phone, the need to be scrolling through Facebook, the need to be working at home when you get home and taking your time away from other people. So these are just little ways that you can implement yourself and improve yourself and take things to the next level, you know. And it takes a little bit of discipline. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, guys. This process does not happen overnight, and it's going to take commitment from you. It's going to take a large amount of discipline. It's going to take you implementing new habits and new routines, like not buying alcohol when you go shopping, like putting your phone on airplane mode when you get home. Okay, like not having crisps and chocolate in the house, like not going straight to the chocolate counter when you buy petrol. By implementing rules into your own life. So there's lots of things that you can add to your life to help you deal with these bad habits. All right, guys. I'd love to know what you think about the feed. Let me know what you think and what you're going to do about it. The first thing I would do if I was you is go and get a little journal, call it the habit book, and write down every bad habit that you are currently in. Okay, and then start like getting everything you're thinking out of your head. Write it down on a piece of paper and attack it. What are you going to do about it? Write what you're going to do about it. How are you going to deal with that? When are you going to do it by? How are you going to replace that habit? All of these questions that you have to ask yourself. I hope that helps, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Keep up the amazing work, guys. Don't forget the accountability tonight. Whether your score is very poor or whether it's very good, I don't give a fuck. I want to see you turning up. Show up every fucking day. No excuses. Okay? All of the time. We're in a brotherhood because we're trying to develop ourselves. We're not in a brotherhood for status. We're here to develop ourselves. And I want you to get the most out of this. I want you to be the person you want to be. I want you to wake up with purpose. And I want you to keep trying and keep pushing, no matter how hard it's going to get for you. And I want you to look in the mirror and say to yourself, I'm good enough to do this. I'm good enough to overcome all the odds. I'm good enough to be better than I'm being right now. I know I can be better. I'm going to be better. All right, guys. Have a great day. And I'll catch you real soon.